So for today's session, we've called it Masterclass 3.0 because it looks good. And to be honest with you, it will be good. It will be very good. But today's session is more about talking about the concepts and principles of the strategy. I haven't put in 2 years of work to put together all the content that I've put together and laboriously go over changing it, adapting it, making it better with members of the community, mentors, myself, and everything else to then turn around now and say to you guys that it is not working. What is not working at the moment is that there are so many people in the community and there are so many different concepts and principles that members are following. Now, is that wrong? Absolutely not. Everybody's entitled to trade how they want, and ultimately I want everybody to trade how they want. How I trade is not going to be how you trade, or Stubbsy trades, or Cat trades, or Alexander trades, or Royston trades, or anybody in the community trades. Everyone is going to trade differently because everybody sees things differently. Now, you all have to understand one very, very important factor here. The markets are made up of behaviors, and those behaviors are based on emotions and psychology. Okay, that's it. Now, yes, we know the big boys have their supply and demand levels and they have their orders set here at level X, Y, and Z. No one gives a flying beep. Do you understand? And you guys have to learn to accept this as soon as possible. I don't care what whole number works best every single time. And I personally don't care where the supply level or demand level is, or where the bank's levels are, or where the financial institution levels are. The ultimate truth is, guys, most of us are trading with money that don't even touch a fraction of what they're trading. So why are we even concerned about what the financial institutes are doing or where the secret levels are X, Y, and Z? No one cares. All we need to be doing is taking advantage of the market's move when the market moves. Okay? That's as simple as what we need to be doing as retail traders. There's no such thing as professional traders and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. If you've been trading 10 years, stay humble. You still got lots to learn. Do you understand? And if you've made money up to that point, continue to stay humble at that point because you might not make money for the next 10 years if you don't. So we're all retail traders unless we're working for a big, big bank and we're just really manipulating the markets. And whether there's manipulation or not, I don't really care. Whether there's stop hunts or not, I don't really care. Whether there's blah, 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 I don't really care. As far as I'm concerned and what I want to make sure that you all understand, or from my own opinion, should I say, whether you believe me or not, or agree with me or not. If we get stop hunted or we get whipped out and the market goes down, who cares if that was manipulation? We're not going to be able to write in a big old ordeal letter and send it into the banks and say, you just screwed me over for $300. Do you understand? They don't care. The point is we have to learn to accept our trades as numbers. So if we plan to take a trade and our stop loss is not in the best place and you say to yourself, well, it should be high above structure. The truth is, if the market's going to go down, then guess what? The market's going to go down. If it's going to go up, it's going to go up. If your stop loss is above structure or below structure, then that's where it's supposed to be for your strategy. Do you understand? So now what I want to do for this session is go over some concepts and principles that you need to understand. And then thereafter, it's down to you guys to really put in the work. Okay. This session is to really try to just filter everything out that you've already seen in the community and whatever's distracted you, or whoever you've been watching who's been banging out their take profits and admiring and saying, my trading's not like them. This is just to give everybody a fresh perspective so that now you can go back into the markets and see the markets for what they are. So before we go into that, what I want to do is I want to jump onto the charts a second and just give you a very, very quick breakdown of this strategy. Now, I already have all the details here in this presentation, but you know how I work in terms of my teaching and I like interaction. So for that reason, I'm going to allow you guys to be unmuted, or not allow you. I'm going to unmute you. And then I just want interaction. Okay. The minute we start to lack interaction, then it's going to mean that I'm just going to slow down in my teachings. Not because I want to, it's just I need interaction. Okay. Those that are not talking, stay muted. Any background noise, stay muted. All right. So just very quickly, the structure that we trade, or the strategy that we trade, is simply following market structure, okay? Now, we're not looking for Fibonacci levels. We're not looking for any ABC patterns. We're not looking for any harmonic patterns. We're just simply looking for the market to travel up, and we're looking for the market to travel down. Any market that's traveling sideways simply means that the market is moving sideways. That means that we don't take any trades, okay? Whoever's drawing on here, please stop. When the market is pushing to the upside, we are looking for buys, and when the market is pushing to the downside, we're looking for sells. When the market is ranging, then guess what we're doing? We're doing nothing. Or technically, that's what we should be doing. So what is the core fundamental basis of this strategy? Well, it's how we can identify taking buys when the market is moving up and how we can identify sells when the market is moving down. That is it. Now, does anybody have any misunderstanding of what I've just explained here? When the market is moving up, we are simply looking for buys. When the market is moving down, we're looking for sells. Does anybody not understand this? Yeah. Fine. So with that in mind, I just want you to understand one simple concept. This is our strategy. Now you might say, well, Rox, isn't that obvious? Well, of course it's obvious, but then ask yourself this: why are you still having problems with your trading if it's obvious? Okay. And it's a very serious question that you have to ask yourself. Because if we're not worried about secret levels and institutional levels and supply and demand levels and Fibonacci retracements and harmonic patterns and ABCVs and whatever else it is, why then do we make our trading difficult? Well, that's what I want to try and clear up today. Okay. Now, yes, certainly it is simple. Whoever just said that in the chat, Ali said it's simple, but it's not easy. But I tell you who makes it hard, not the markets. The people that make trading hard is yourselves. And if you don't believe me, then you best start believing me. Because people or traders want to rush into trades. They want to chase trades. They want to make 8% on their FTMO accounts, and then they want to blow it the next week. They want to be up in challenges, and then they want to blow it the next week. And that's nothing to do with the market. The truth is, if the market's going up, then you're looking for buys for as long as it's going up. And if the market is going down, you're looking for sells as long as it's going down. But when you start to allow your emotions and your psychology to take over, and you start looking for buys and sells in ranging markets, then I'm afraid that's your fault, my friends. Because there's 75 other pairs that you could be trading, and you could be looking for other structures that are clearer. Does this make sense? So it can be simple and it can be easy for sure. But you have to accept that. And the only way you're going to accept that is by really understanding, well, it's not going to be from what I teach you today, but hopefully what I can illustrate to you today will be able to help you. Now, definitely, great point, Alexandra. Education system has taught us to make things more complicated than they actually are, for sure. Now, there are ways to make trading complicated, to make it look like it's the most amazing strategy in the world, to then entice many people to jump on board the bandwagon. But I'm telling you now, fact. If you really accept this as just a straight up fact, no questioning, no second thoughts, nothing. When the market moves up, it moves up, and when it moves down, it moves down. We just have to find these two elements or understand these two elements so we can get involved in the markets. And then what happens next? Well, it's just a numbers game. So throughout this masterclass, Concepts and Principles, it's based on the same strategy we're trading. It's the same strategy that everybody in this community trades, period. I don't care what kind of variation you have, it's the same thing. Now, I'm not taking credit for it because I did not make this up. The market just moves the way it does, and I accepted that. So now that's what I trade and that's what I teach. So I'm not taking any credit for this. Do you understand? This is what the market does, and I accept it. However you trade it, however you see it, is all going to be the same thing, just with slight variations. So let's move on to this, right? We understand 3 phases in the market structure, and I need you guys to accept this, and ladies. The market is going to move up. The market is going to move down, and the market is going to move sideways. Now, if you guys are focusing on how to get the best entry, how to get the best stop loss, what kind of lot size to put on a trade, when to go big, when to trail your stop loss, when to do X, Y, and Z, and you have not accepted this part right now, then every time there's a hiccup, you take a stop loss, the market whips you out a break even and goes in your direction, then guess what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to continue succeeding as a trader because you're constantly going to be attached to the outcome as opposed to accepting that that's what it's done. And then guess what? Tomorrow you can come back, you can take another trade whenever and on any time frame, because guess what the market structure does? It will move up and it will move down. And when it's moving sideways, then guess what? We let it go. Now, we all understand that. So if I ask you guys, if we're looking at this chart right now, just based on what you know, based on what you've been taught, based on where you've come from, what structure of this market, what is the structure of this market right now? I don't want it in the chat. I want interaction, please.
Trending up.
Trending up, right? So we can clearly see the market structure is up. Why? Well, we can just see it's moving up. I don't care whether it's making higher highs, higher lows, whatever. The market structure is moving up. Okay. Now, this is what I was talking about initially in the beginning. When the market moves, it's going to move in those three directions, up, down, or sideways. Now, if you are looking at this chart, right, guys, and you're staring at it, can you identify areas on this chart where you could have bought this market? Let's say we started to identify from this level over here that the market was moving up. Okay. Let's take the bigger picture, and we're not identifying this break below structure. What we're just identifying is that the market is moving up. If at this point you have said to yourself, you know what, this is a buy bias market, and for as long as this market stays above this level, I'm buying. Now that I've given you that concept, can you tell me where you would have bought this market? Or can you see where you could have bought this market?
This is for
Yes.
no?
Yeah.
Well, look, whoever just asked me what time frame this is,
Doesn't matter.
let me ask you a question. Does this really matter?
No.
For the general bias, maybe.
Okay, that's fine. It's your opinion, and we appreciate it. How many other people believe that it matters what time frame this is?
No.
Doesn't matter.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, fine. And this is one thing that I didn't want to come up straight away because I wanted to save it to the end. Anybody that has loud noises in the background or rustling or shuffling, please mute yourselves. All right, let's just be respectful of others. Otherwise, the more noise in the background, then the more editing I'm going to have to do, which means there might be a month delay in getting this back out to you after this. All right, so keep the noise in the background down for me, please. So whether this is a 4H, whether this is a 1H, 30-minute, or whatever else, it makes no difference. And we'll make that our first lesson today, seeing as we're not going to be able to make it our last. Structure is structure. If the market is going to move up, then guess what the market's going to do? It's going to move up. How many times have we come to our charts in the evening or the next morning and seen on the 5-minute time frame that the market's gone down, or seen on the hourly time frame that the structure's gone up? And during that period of time of it going down, how many times have you identified lower highs to sell? Or when the market's going up, how many times have you identified when the structure has made higher lows to buy? Well, I'm going to tell you, me personally, on my worst days, when I don't see anything in the market, or I take a loss or a break-even trade, when I come back to the markets in the evening and the next morning, do you know how many trades that I see? Tons.
Yeah.
Tons. Now, I asked myself at that period of time, what made my life harder during the day to then identify that trading opportunity? If the market was trending down, why did I not see that? Well, I'm going to give you your answer soon. So the market is clearly moving up. So this is how we identify these uptrends, right? Now, let's continue with this. What structure of the market is this?
Down.
Down, right. So look, I'm just going over what we already know, but the reason why I'm coming back to this is because we need to accept it. It really is that simple. We need to learn to accept it. Now, you're going to look at this market structure and you're going to see that it's down. But the minute we start to go into this market structure and we start to identify what's happening, we're going to start to say to ourselves or make up a story here about what's going on. We see that this is a structural low. The market here didn't make the higher high. It made a lower high. We expect the market to make the lower low. It never broke and made a higher high. Okay. So when we start to break it down like this, we start to see that the market, or as we've been learning, the market is doing what? Ranging. But if we keep trading simple, there is one person and they're rustling so much.
Charles,
sorry, dude. Stay muted, please, bro. When we start to dissect this, we start to lose sight of what the market's actually doing, and the overall market structure is down. Now, the reason why this is important at this moment in time is because not what's happened here or happened at the break. We can see that the weight of this market is where? Is the weight of this market more to the upside, or is the weight of this market more to the downside?
Downside.
Right.
Downside.
So with that in mind, coming into today's session or any session that we